Welcome to the first and final word with Nelson Jordan and once again special guest Derek Griggs. I'm Chris Nelson. Today we are going to be talking about the New York Knicks hiring Mike Brown as their new head coach to replace the fired Tom Thibodeau. Derek, you have the first word.
So let me say this. Thank you for having me on the show, guys. Secondly, I'm a Knicks fan, so I'm very happy about this move that the Knicks did and they made. It was a smart decision to sign him. So I know a lot of people who are not familiar with Mike Brown. Let me just start off by saying Mike Brown, two-time Coach of the Year, has multiple NBA Finals experience, um, has four championship rings as well. Plus, it's no shade against Tibbs, but Mike Brown would use his bench as well. So that's definitely a plus. But overall, I, I love the move the Knicks did. I think this is a good start. I know a lot of people are not familiar with Mike Brown, but let me tell you guys, Mike Brown, defensive minded coach as well. Hey, we're off to a good start right now. Plus, I just want to say, people who are not familiar with Mike Brown, if you remember when the Warriors won the championship, I think I think it was back to back. Mike Brown was part of the coaching staff. I think he was the assistant coach.
I coached for
Everyone,
some games as well when Steve Kerr missed some time.
yes, yes. So everyone who's not familiar with Mike Brown, check him out. As you can see, when he departed, when he became the Sacramento Kings coach, the Warriors defense kind of crumbled a little bit. So that should tell you something about Mike Brown. But overall, love the move. Smart decision by the Knicks. Let's go Knicks. Nelson, I just wanted to get your opinion about it. What did you think about the move?
I think I think this is potentially what the New York Knicks need. And let me start by saying I think you're going to hear a lot more of these chants. Go New York, go. Go New York, go, right? And you know what?
New York, go, New York, go.
Exactly. So you know what? I think with the wide open what Eastern Conference now, especially with what we've seen with the injuries to other key players and even though it's sad to see that, I think what Mike Brown is going to bring, and even from his heyday being, in Cleveland to learning, other in Golden State, and then also being one of the assistant coaches too under the United States men's national basketball team, I think he's going to bring a tenacity on defense higher so than Thibodeau. I think he's going to be more wiser because he understands that, you can't do what Tibbs did and literally just, play everybody, full 38, 40, 36 minutes and expect these guys to have their legs with them all the way till essentially, the later rounds in the NBA postseason once you get there, right? So I think having that experience, having that championship pedigree that Mike Brown has literally been there so many times, I feel like this is only going to benefit, especially New York, so much. And we've seen already with what the Cleveland Cavaliers have done in consecutive postseasons. They've been favorited for God's sakes how many times? But yet they've always just fell off like a cliff in the second round. I mean, granted, we saw what Hallie did, but still, I mean, it's never been good enough with Cleveland. They have never lived up to expectations, even though they were first overall seed, I believe, last year, right? So this is going to be a big, big opportunity, and I think really we're going to see what really this New York basketball team is all about with the addition of Mike Brown as head coach, because he's going to fill out an excellent coaching staff as well. And we can't even comprehend to the names that he might be bringing over too. So, with that being said, Chris, I'll give you the final word on Mike. Sure,
That's
go
the
ahead.
one thing
Yeah, go
Yeah,
ahead.
please, please, please.
I forgot to also mention. All my Knicks fans, Mike Brown, very familiar with Steph Curry, very familiar with LeBron James, very familiar with Kevin Durant. If there's anyone who knows how to guard those three guys, I'm not saying the Knicks are going to be perfect, but he knows them. He knows what to do. He knows how to frustrate them, especially if we're playing someone like Draymond Green. Because all my Knicks fans, we know how we feel about Draymond Green. Because don't get me started on that. But and but no shade against LeBron. He's up in age, so don't get me wrong. LeBron's going to come out there and do his thing. But it's Steph Curry, who I don't like. Every time he comes to Madison Square Garden, always lights us up, and we're tired of it. So Mike Brown, he knows Steph. He knows what to do to Steph. He knows how to frustrate him. So that is definitely a plus. And like Nelson said, the East is wide open. I see the Knicks having a chance to go there and just possibly win a championship. The Pacers, the Celtics, Cavs, even the Bucks. It's all up in the air. So perfect opportunity for the Knicks to win the championship. But yes,
Amen.
that's all
Amen to
I say.
that.
And go ahead, Chris. Just wanted to say that.
I'm coming at you. You making a bold prediction? Are you predicting the New York Knicks to not only go to the NBA Finals but win the championship?
I'm not going to jinx the Knicks, but I think the Knicks will go to the NBA Finals next season. Yes, it's
Mark
there.
down, everybody. Mark it
Because
down.
you saw what he did. He referenced four players in the Western Conference. He didn't talk about anyone in the East. He said Mike Brown can stop those guys in the West. I don't think he only made a prediction of the Knicks being in the finals. He kind of hinted at three teams from the West he feels like are the contenders to get to the finals. And none of them were in Oklahoma City.
Listen. The only thing we have to worry about in the East right now, because I will say they have been making moves, is the Orlando Magic. And I know the Knicks fans don't want to hear this, but the Atlanta Hawks as well. Trae Young, all of them, they've been making some moves as well.
You forgot Detroit. Don't forget about Detroit because they gave you a
Oh,
series too.
no.
I'm in agreement with that.
Detroit?
Yeah, I mean, look, if
Detroit's
Mike
young
Brown
and
comes
coming.
in, if Mike Brown comes in and elevates the Knicks to another level, then yeah, I think they're ahead of Detroit. But based on what we saw last season, the Pistons can without a doubt beat the Knicks in that playoff series.
Yes, they did give us a run for our money. However, name me someone off their bench that the Pistons can use.
The Pistons bench or the Knicks bench?
Off the Pistons bench.
Oh man, you're putting me on the spot. I can look it up and
See,
I can give
see
you some
that's what I mean.
names.
So let me tell you
I
this.
can
Let me
look it
tell you
up
this.
and give you some names, but I wasn't prepared to talk about the Pistons.
So let me no.
No, but
Let me say
that's a
this
valid
is
question. That's a valid question.
it's no shade against Detroit. Detroit is very young, very upcoming. However, you have the stuff going on with Malik Beasley, and
True.
then they let Hardaway Jr. go to Denver. So they lost two of their shooters now.
Mm.
Detroit is not really known to be
They
good at
well,
three.
but they added both Karis LeVert and Duncan Robinson.
I'm sorry, who?
They just added both Karis LeVert and Duncan. Listen, you want to talk about shooters? Duncan Robinson. That's what he is.
He
Duncan
could shoot.
Robinson
He
can
could.
shoot.
Yeah, he's a 3-point shooter. Yeah.
So, and then I would look at the center position where Isaiah Stewart and Jalen Duren, we assume are both going to be healthy for the start of the season. So you have both of them certainly by the playoffs. I mean, that's depth. They're not going to play in the court at the same time together, we don't think. So I think they have some pieces, and even if they do, that gives you some depth. So I
Jaden
think there's some
Ivory.
guys there.
Jaden Ivory is returning from injury, so it's going to take
Yeah,
time to get ramped.
as is Isaiah Stewart.
Tobias Harris.
But
Well, first
those
of all,
two being out,
we're not
were
worried about
both
Isaiah.
out for most of that playoff series. You just mentioned Jaden Ivey and Isaiah Stewart, who were both out for all of that playoff series in the case of Jaden Ivey. So you add those two guys in the mix with the Pistons going up against the same Knicks team. They looked good enough to beat the Knicks, unless Mike Brown's going to elevate the Knicks. I think we're getting carried away. Discussion for another day.
Yeah,
Wait.
yeah.
There is one point before Chris. I want you to take it. One point though. Are we just all going to safely discount the Philadelphia 76ers? Yes or no? Straight up.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Right. Chris, go
In the
ahead.
future, it'll be, but not now.
Yeah, that's another day we can talk about that. But yes, to answer your question, definitively. We can break it down why, but definitively, yes. So my take is less about the Mike Brown hiring and more still about the Tom Thibodeau firing. And I know that's not what we're here to talk about, so I'm not going to go back into that. But I think that is the only negative with this hiring. Other than that, I like the hiring. I think Mike Brown's a tremendous coach. I love that he got this opportunity because the Sacramento Kings did him dirty. There's no other way to put it. I mean,
They did.
he did things. He broke the longest playoff drought in NBA history. He took the Sacramento Kings, not just the playoffs. They were the 3 seed. And don't forget, the next year they finished 9th. I mean, they just missed the playoffs. They had a good season. They had a good record. They just weren't as good as the year before. So I just don't understand. It felt like they were in a good place. Who knows what happens to them this season if they keep him as the head coach? But we know it did happen, and it wasn't good. So I love that he got this opportunity. Mike Brown, throughout his career, as Derek pointed out, has shown that he's a good coach. You're not the 2-time NBA Coach of the Year by accident. I mean, that's two more than Eric Spoelstra has. And I think we all agree he's one phenomenal coach. So, and I know that's circumstantial. You have to be in a position to be able to win that award. Having a good team year over year is going to make it harder to win that award. But he really has done a tremendous job as a coach throughout his career. So I do think it's a good hire. I just don't know that he's necessarily a better fit or coach than Tom Thibodeau. We're going to find out, and that's where my curiosity is. But yeah, hey, we're going to get to see some guys play off the Knicks bench. So that will be nice to see. Nelson, just to touch on something you said about the Cleveland Cavaliers, I think they're the favorites in the East still ahead of the New York Knicks. I do. I agree with everything you were saying in terms of Cleveland always coming up short in terms of their sports. But that the Cavs made a huge jump last year. Disappointing end of the season without a doubt, and there's a lot of criticism they deserve for that. But heading into next season with the way the East looks, I think they're the favorites right now. So that's all we have on the Mike Brown hiring by the New York Knicks. Next up, we are going to talk about the Los Angeles Lakers signing Deandre Ayton to be their new starting center, and they gave him a 2-year deal with a player option for the second year. Derek, you have the first word.
I'm a Lakers fan. I'm not happy. I'm not happy at all because,
Really?
yeah, I mean, the decision, it was a good move for the Lakers, but at the same time, you still have to worry about your bench. And then there's some rumblings about LeBron James being worried about where the team is heading. So it's their Lakers are heading in the right decision right now. I like the DeAndre Ayton move, but I'm still kind of worried and I'm still kind of scratching my head because the Lakers still don't have a bench. And then who's going to be your power forward? Because right now that has been a question mark that the Lakers have been struggling with. Yes, they can put LeBron there, but again, it's no shade against LeBron. LeBron's up in age, and you have to be careful of how many minutes you play him. So, I mean, right now I'm kind of on the fence with it because the Lakers they still have to make some moves right now because the West is just stacked right now. I mean, you have OKC, you have the NBA champions, you have the Houston Rockets, you have the Denver Nuggets, you have the Golden State Warriors, you have the list goes on. So if I'm the Lakers right now, I'm on the fence right now. The signing was good, but I'm not really impressed because they still have a long way to go. So that's just
So
my
in terms of what we're focusing on, you like the DeAndre Ayton signing. You think he's a good fit there. You think that was a nice signing. You just don't like the Lakers as a whole right now at this moment in time. As of
so
early July, you
as
don't
of
like the Lakers' outlook for next season.
as of right now, I'm on the fence with the signing. I mean, on paper, it makes a good decision, but reality, I'm kind of on the fence with it because we don't know how DeAndre Ayton's going to fit with LeBron and Luca. Yes, DeAndre Ayton can play at a fast pace, but what happens when him and LeBron butt heads? Because DeAndre Ayton, he's good for rebounding. He can score points. He's a good in the post, but there's some question marks regarding him because I don't know how well he's going to gel with. I think he'll be okay with Luca. I'm not sure how well he's going to gel with LeBron. Plus, DeAndre Ayton hasn't really been healthy enough. So that's another concern that I have as well because he's missed a lot of time and a lot of games due to injuries. But as of right now, I'm on the fence with it on paper, and that's just my take. So I just wanted to ask you guys. So Nelson, what did you think about the whole DeAndre Ayton signing?
So, as someone who has been now watching LeBron towards his tail end of the career and want to see him be as successful as he can be, right? And I think it's healthy for the NBA when we still have a great partnership, if you will, even with LeBron and the moments that the Lakers had. Now, granted, it's been how many years that they've been walking into the Denver Nuggets and they've been getting literally executed every series, right? So, and the one biggest glaring weakness going into this season, as Derek, you kind of talked about, was their depth at the bench. They had a very small bench, if anything. They did not have any quality pieces even to begin with at center. I don't even remember who their starting center was to even begin with. I think that might have been what they had. I think what
Anthony
Maxi
Davis
Kleber.
was the starting.
Jackson
Well,
Hayes.
he
Maxi Kleber
Jackson
later
Hayes.
came back
There we go.
starting to play as good played, yeah. Anthony
Right.
Davis
Yeah.
was the center. They trade him, and then Derek's right. It was Jackson Hayes, which I agree with you guys. He's more of a power forward. Maxi Kleber
Right.
barely played. He came
Right.
back
But I'm
late in
saying,
the
but
playoffs. been out for
Right. So, right. But Jackson Hayes was really their center, right? Even though that you had Anthony Davis playing at that 5 spot,
they
you know,
really
even though
didn't
he's
have
a
a
4.
center. That's why they.
They
That's why they
that's what I'm
ended up
saying.
trading.
They never had
Yeah,
a full roster per se,
that's why
right?
we're having this
They were
conversation. Yeah,
exactly. But you know,
yeah.
I think again we're not gonna so focus on the bench per se. We're gonna focus on what DeAndre Ayton can bring to the table. I think DeAndre Ayton. I think he'll bring more of a presence that at least what Anthony Davis could do, which is, hey, I'm gonna rebound the ball. I'm gonna get, you know, my strength is off the backboards. I'm be able to score hard in the paint if necessary, because that's what he does. He's, you know, a double machine practically every game if he wants to be. He has the potential. Now, granted, he's not a pure rim protector per se, but at least he'll give you second chance offensive rebounds and all that good stuff. His salary isn't too high. You can hope that hopefully the Lakers can kind of work around that. They've always been known to pay luxury tax, so hopefully his deal, you know, and it looks to be.
I believe Portland is paying part of it still, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's the case.
Yeah.
yeah, right,
Yeah,
exactly. So
Portland's paying
yeah,
part of his salary. It's like
yeah.
a
So
Damian
it's
Lillard
it's
situation.
exactly. So it's a friendly contract, you know, with the Lakers. But even with that said, I was kind of seeing a couple of nuggets. I think to Derek, to your credit, I think this could be a potential nice little addition to a wrinkle, if you will, with Doncic and Ayton. Because if we don't know, they both actually have the same agent, Chris Duffy. So this guy knows
They were
both
in the same
players.
draft. They were
Exactly.
the first and third overall picks in the same draft.
And thank you for saying that too. So there is obviously potential with DeAndre Ayton. We just have never seen it literally consistently since he's been out. Now he's also had that experience, but being on a championship team with the Suns, so he's got some
They're
pedigree.
up 2-0 in the finals.
Exactly. So he's got some pedigree. This guy has it in him. I just think we need to see him in the right spot. And hey, this is what ESPN folks, Stephen A always says, Tinseltown, baby, right? You know, LA, you know, city of angels, right? You know, see all the beautiful beaches and everything. Maybe that will get him to play a little bit better, be more healthy physically and all that stuff. So maybe this might be a potential good spot for Aiden. Who knows? But again, to kind of touch it up, last point, Derek, you brought it up. We don't know how his interaction with his personality, how it's going to work with especially such a commanding personality of like LeBron has, especially on the floor. Because he's not going to tolerate any of Ayton's nonsense either. So it's going to really be decided on how ultimately everybody can work together, especially under their head coach. So it'll be interesting to see how the Lakers look like. And I think Ayton, I want to say as an LA fan for this team, I hope he does good for them. Because at least this should maybe give them a little bit more promise going forward. Because there's still some work to do. This is a rather good step in the right direction. And I think they can maybe do some more afterwards. So we'll see. But Chris, I'll give you the final word on DeAndre Ayton.
You know, Nelson, I love that we have you on here because you're so optimistic all the time and so positive. It
Hey,
balances
man.
me out. We absolutely need that. And I like the DeAndre Ayton signing. I like what you guys said about it being a friendly contract. I think he's a nice fit there at center, which obviously, as you mentioned, was a glaring need. But in terms of DeAndre Ayton, look, this guy was the number 1 overall draft pick. He's been in the NBA for 7 seasons. He's never come close to living up to
Right.
that. I'm not optimistic about DeAndre Ayton suddenly because he's with the Lakers figuring out becoming that guy. He's been good throughout his career. He's always averaged a double-double. He's a great rebounder. He's a good scorer. He can fit in there nicely and be that third option, even the fourth or fifth option as needed, and he will score effectively in the post and provide that for them. But we also know that Luka Doncic and LeBron James want to drive the ball into the paint. That's when they're at their best. Is he a good fit for that? I mean, he is a post-up guy. He's not necessarily going to consistently go out and stretch the floor like Brook Lopez, Miles Turner, whoever you may want to name in that regard. There are plenty of others. And so that may be one concern. When you have Luka Doncic, man, you guys are mean to LeBron James. If anyone has proven age is just a number, it's him. This guy's unbelievable. He's playing, he just had an incredible season.
He did. No, he did.
Outstanding.
He did.
I don't care how old he is. If you're playing that good, I'm just going to assume he's going to keep doing it until I see otherwise. So I think Luka Doncic and LeBron James are 2 of the top 10 players in the NBA. If you have 2 top 10 players in the NBA, you should be a contender. And I think DeAndre Ayton's a good piece to that puzzle. My issue with the Lakers isn't about just their lack of depth because they can address that. They have the rest of the summer to address that. It's the coach. JJ Redick is a terrible
JJ.
coach. That's the problem. I mean, the Lakers should be a contender. I'm not optimistic they can even get to the Western Conference Finals. I won't be surprised if they lose in the first round. So, I like the signing because it's a good fit, but Deandre Ayton is a guy who, the only reason we're even talking about this is because he was the number one overall draft pick and because it's the Lakers. Otherwise, this would just be one that we'd shrug off and move on from. And because they desperately needed a center.
Can I say?
Derek, you have something, yeah.
So I just thought about DeAndre Ayton. He was in the perfect situation with the Phoenix Suns because remember he went to
He
the NBA
was.
Finals.
Well,
Even
they had
even
Chris Paul, who was kind of like Luka Doncic. They had Devin Booker, so you said they might not fit gel together with those guys, but he's played with those stars. They also have Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson. I mean, that was that starting five. They went
exact
to the finals. Don't forget the next year after they went to the finals, they were up 2-0 in the finals. They lost 4 straight to the Bucks. They came back the next year and had by far the best record in the NBA. What did they win? 64, 65 games that year? And then they
I
lost
think they
in Game
were,
7
yeah.
to Dallas at home. They got
Right.
run off the floor at home by Dallas in Game 7 in the second round. I mean, it was bad. That
Right.
thing was ugly.
so
But that was a really good team.
so that's what I was going to say. So he was in the perfect situation. Now we all know the Lakers of last season and this season is nowhere near what the Phoenix Suns were when he was on that team. So now we're about to find out how DeAndre Ayton is about to respond because honestly, I'm kind of like I agree with you, Chris. I don't think it's there on paper. Smart decision, but I just don't see it. And like Nelson said as well, I think he'll be okay with Luca, but it's gonna be interesting to see what happens between him and LeBron James because we all know LeBron James, one of the greatest players, and he has a zero tolerance for errors. So we're going to see how him and LeBron work when the season comes.
Yeah, and look, you mentioned it about the injuries. He only played 40 games last year. That's it, 40, less than half the season. He played only 55 the year before. Those were his 2 years in Portland. He missed a good amount of games, a lot of his years in Phoenix, pretty much all of them. I think his healthiest season was maybe his rookie year, and he still missed a lot of games. So that's a concern right there. And even if he does stay healthy, I like the signing for how he's a fit with the Lakers. I just don't think he moves the needle enough to suddenly make the Lakers a contender, and the Lakers should be a contender. Go ahead, Nelson.
That's a fair point, and I'll kind of leave my last thoughts with you guys responding to this. I've been kind of thinking about it too, and speaking about JJ Redick, especially with now the addition of DeAndre Ayton. I mean, yes, this will make potentially maybe their pick and roll a little bit better too now since they got a legitimate center, because they love to do that under JJ's offense. But now that you have essentially a center that per se is not as active as a Anthony Davis per se, right, as a rim protector, and you need someone that can literally run the floor. I don't know that we can expect DeAndre Ayton to do the same thing with especially under JJ Redick's style of defense, right?
Jackson
So
Hayes did run the floor, and to your point.
right, but if we're going to expect DeAndre Ayton to have 30 minutes plus per se, around 30 minutes a game, which he averages his career,
I think
I just don't.
yeah.
I just don't know that we can expect the full defensive ferocity from him. So JJ Redick, I mean, let's be honest. At this point, you know who's laughing behind everything that's been going on? Darvin Ham. Because you know what? If Darvin Ham had actually picked up, DeAndre Ayton, this would have fit him a lot more better. Because Darvin Ham, the way he likes to play, is hard, physical, but slow tempo type of game. And Aiden would have benefited tremendously. But that's a topic for a different day. But let's be honest, guys. I mean, how beneficial is this going to be to JJ? I just don't know if it will be. If many folks want to pinpoint in that, maybe offensively, but certainly not defensively. Not in my opinion.
Can I say
Well,
one?
and the pick and roll is the bread and butter of the modern NBA. So I don't think we need to give JJ Redick credit for running the pick and roll. That's what everybody runs all the time.
No,
JJ
but I
Redick's
mean,
not doing anything special.
no, he's not. But I mean, now that you have a big man who can actually go and get the ball in replacement to what they didn't have with Anthony Davis, now you can kind of run that potentially with a Luka, or you can have that run now with LeBron as well. So it's like it opens up the doors, but that's only offensively, as I was mentioning. Defensively, there's a lot to be desired still, even after this.
I concur. What do you have, Derek?
I feel so bad for LeBron James. You just Nelson. Can you imagine LeBron playing game after game, night after night? And how many games did you say DeAndre Ayton missed, Chris?
He missed most of last season. He only played 40 games out of 82, and he only played 55 the year before that, which is significantly more than 40. But he still missed
Yeah.
27 games. If I'm doing my math right, I did do my math right. Yeah, 27 games missed. That's a lot.
So
I
imagine
mean, just to be eligible for recognition, you have to, in the past few years, you have to play a minimum of 65 games. And debate that all you want, it's a whole other topic, but he was 10 games away from that. Last season, he was 25 away from that. You can't miss that many games to be a viable player.
No.
Imagine LeBron James just going out night after night and Luka and Deandre Ayton, because they have an injury history. Can you imagine them both being out and LeBron just having to carry the team like he did last season?
No. As great as he is, he's not at his peak prime any longer, and he cannot do that. He does need those players around him for him to be able to play at the level he's been playing at.
Absolutely.
But hopefully Luka Doncic will take that challenge of getting in shape and being the best version that we can see of him, which is a scary thought.
And playing better
Staying
defense.
healthy. And we saw Nikola Jokic do that some years
That's
ago,
not happening.
and look what he's become. I agree with Derek on that front, Nelson. He's not going to be a great defender all of a sudden. He's horrible on that end, regardless if he's in shape. But I would love to see Luka Doncic go get in great shape, not just because I want to see what that looks like, but stick it to Nico Harrison. But do you guys have anything else on this?
No,
I
that's
think
all.
that's all we got, man.
I feel bad for LeBron James. That's it.
All right, fair enough. Sorry, LeBron James. Well, that's all we have today, so we want to thank everyone for tuning in and sticking with us throughout.
Yeah, thanks everybody again for tuning in to another episode of the First and Final Word podcast. And follow us on our other social media pages, and please take a listen to us on your favorite podcast platform.
For Nelson Jordan and Derek Griggs, I'm Chris Nelson. This has been the First and Final Word.